Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
Here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
What, did you sleep or something last night?
I get home till midnight. Actually, I got home at 11:15.
Yeah.
I came in the house at midnight.
And what'd you sit in the car doing?
What do you think?
Smoking the cigar?
Yeah.
45 minutes in the car?
I was listening to my recording of the meetup. Just making sure that I was in check and that I was giving my audience good value, and you were giving some good jokes, and there you go.
Good man.
Just making sure everything's good. We call it the qual check, qualification check,
Quality control.
There you go. Episode number 137.
That sounds good.
Name of today's episode is 18, Peter. 18 under your nose secrets. Under your nose. Where are they, Peter?
Somewhere in my mustache.
Under your nose secrets that turn real estate offers into gold.
I have no idea what that is.
Really?
No. Well, I've never heard you say anything near that, so I'm just all ears right now.
Oh. So the title's bad, or you just don't know what I'm going to talk about?
No, I just it's not like, oh, I know that one.
Oh.
I heard that before.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, yeah, what do you got up your sleeve?
I tell you, I've been really, I don't know if you noticed the recent podcast, like for the last 6 months, I've been really working on making sure the content is different, and that I really work on the content. And it's far from when we first started, which was just ad hoc. We just talked crap to one another and everybody listens, right? But now that we're approaching 1 million listeners, or 1 million downloads, I should say, I've decided to take it much more serious these days and actually work on it before we sit down and actually do the podcast.
You do,
and I noticed that the feedback has been much different, much better. You know, I mean, it was all good before, but it's like gone to a whole new level.
Well, it's nothing like getting a little bit organized.
Imagine that.
Totally.
I do know how to do that.
Yes.
It's just not being lazy about it.
Well, yeah, there's always that. It's called work.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. Easy with that word. You come around here throwing that thing around.
4-letter words.
Stop using.
Hey, I didn't do the J word, though.
M. When you set up the podcast, you have to put on there, what is it? Listener, what is the thing? If we
disclaimer.
Swear, what is that thing you have to check off?
Explicit language.
Huh? Explicit language.
Adult
now Emma has to click off explicit language because you brought up 4-letter words.
Oh.
All right, here we are. Truth be told, Peter, your words determine what you get in life. So if you have more great answers than your prospects have questions, the stress... I can't read my own writing. The stress goes out of making offers and your confidence soars. I'm going to do that again. So if you have more great answers than your prospects have questions, the stress goes out of making offers and your confidence soars.
That would be the case.
Which, by the way, is what I do a lot. That's why my coaching clients do so well, because I work on that all the time. That's why scripts are so important to us. And when I say script, I mean organizing your words before they are said. More important, you can't just hope you will think something to say and that it will be good enough to buy a house. That's what a lot of people do, right?
I suppose they don't have much of a plan.
Right. However, I have found that if you don't use these 18 points to do your presentation, the script sounds unnatural and salesy and causes your seller to not act.
See, now you got my attention.
And if you don't know them, you will have 18 weaknesses expert investors use to create tremendous lifelong income that makes stock market returns look like a bad joke. How's that, Peter? It's true. Let's face it. If you're not rich from real estate, you may not be doing these 18 fundamentals. So let's see what they are.
Number 1.
Well, you know me. I got to have a little description before we get started, waiting for everybody to get here.
Oh.
So here we go, Peter. We have officially started the podcast.
Okay.
All right. If you're making offers, and I'm talking about 4 or 5 offers a week, and your prospects are telling you things like this, I'm so glad we met today. You sound like you have done this for a long time. I really like you. You sound honest. I hope this works out. I want to sell to you. I don't know all the stuff. I didn't know all the stuff you told me, and I'm glad we met. If you're hearing that when you're making your presentations, this podcast is not for you.
You don't need this.
You don't need this. You're further along than most.
Mm-hmm.
So, Peter, did I make those up?
Those are quotes.
Of what?
What people say to you. And I think one of those is from one of your students.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you did such a good job learning what you should do, what you should say, reading the script over and over, thinking, waiting. By the time he showed up, he was kind of prepared.
Right.
And he came out. And they said that to him.
That's right.
On his first presentation.
His first presentation. That's right.
Yeah, it was his first presentation. That was like a week or 2 ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why it brought my attention, because all of us, I mean, I've been hearing this stuff for years. So, I'm not bragging, but it's like, come on. I mean, I should be that way. I mean, really, if I can't tell you this, then just chalk me up as the biggest idiot on the planet. Because I've done this like 4,000 plus times. I mean,
you better be good by now.
People should say that to me.
You better
come
be good
on.
by
If
now.
you do something, I mean, if I don't know, pick an actor. I mean, I always pick Tom Cruise because I don't know any other one. And which, by the way, I don't even like the guy.
But
Who's give me a woman actress. Julie Roberts. Yeah, okay, that's the one. Julie Roberts. If she did her lines 4,000 times, what would you expect of the movie?
she's tired.
It would be one spectacular movie.
No, what they do is they just practice for years. They have a talent at it, but they really get the lines down. They can act. They do it. They practice a lot. They're in plays in school and in college and stuff.
Of course.
And they get good at it. So then they make it look kind of effortless, but
Right.
a lot goes into that.
Of course.
Same like people, oh, did you see the concert by blah, blah? Like, yeah, they've been on for 40 years. It was pretty good. 40 years, they better damn be good.
Exactly.
They haven't figured it out by now. Go the hell home.
I told you I saw that. What is it
The
called?
Led Zeppelin
The-
copy
what is it
tribute
called?
band. I didn't catch the
What's the
name.
name of the band, Em, that we went to see?
The Led Zeppelin tribute.
Get the Lead Out.
Get the lead out.
They were phenomenal. Oh my God! If you got a chance to go see them, go see them. If you like Led Zeppelin, Get the Lead Out. They were phenomenal. Matter of fact, they're coming back. I heard them on the radio. They're in Hartford.
Yeah.
No, they're at the casino. I told my wife, "You want to go?" She said, "No." I'm like, I thought in my head, I'm going anyways.
I've done that.
They're
Just
coming next
see
month.
ya.
Yeah, I'm gonna go again. All right. However, so if you get all those answers that we're just talking about, or you're hearing those, this podcast is not for you. Okay. However, if this is how you feel, you ready?
Go.
Giving offers makes you nervous. High strung about what to say when in front of your seller. Not sure of the deal structure. Your seller will look down on you like they're on a pedestal, or they think less of you when you make your offer.
Yeah.
Or you feel stressed or uncomfortable because you're new. This podcast is exactly what the real estate doctor has ordered for you.
The doctor is in.
That popped in my head at 7:30 yesterday morning when I was at my meetup and talking to Doc Marriott. He's the chiropractor in our group.
Okay.
So just put a plug in for
Might
Doc
as well.
Marriott. Rocky
Yeah.
Hill, Connecticut. Unbelievable chiropractor. I don't do chiropractic, but every person that goes to him, I did some marketing for him. Every person that goes to him raves about him.
Oh,
He is
really?
an amazing. They say it's like you've never had treatment like that before. Anyways,
Well, I got a guy that might need that in case.
I'm telling you, the success stories are phenomenal. I don't know what he does, but he's magical.
Mm-hmm.
So
apparently, he doesn't have to worry about his practice with all the money from the motels and hotels, so he can focus on his practice.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so maybe you've studied enough of my material or some other successful gurus, some other successful people, and feel your one-liners are perfectly honed in and persuasive enough to impress the seller. Or you feel like you have answers to questions the seller may have, right? Yeah. We call it don't shoot from the lip. You know, a joke on don't shoot from the hip, don't shoot from the lip. Right?
I get it. Ha, 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 ha,
ha. Yeah, I'm not a comedian. Hey, I have dry English humor, okay? I'm sorry. So, you're not shooting from the lip. Mm-hmm. Okay? You've memorized all these organized words that I've spotted off to you or somebody else has taught you. I don't know anybody that spends as much time on what to say other than the Wolves. Mm-hmm. The Wolf couple does that, but I don't think they spend they've got their course and they do this stuff, but I don't know if they spend as much time in the houses as I do. I don't know that.
It doesn't say that for either them or other people that in this situation they're going a little bit more for volume and just catching the easy ones, which would be somebody like me because I'm not as good as you. So, but you're talking about getting better at it, so you reduce the loss and the waste of possible prospects or people you really could help.
Right. So there's 3 people that will call you when you do the marketing, what we talk about, and there's been plenty of podcasts we have for that. Just go back and look for them. Mm-hmm. You have a suspect, which is the most common one.
You got the yes, no, and maybes.
Yeah. So you got the suspect, you got the prospect, and then when we have what we call the deliberator, the guy that has to think about it, needs more data, and he's the maybe. Mm-hmm. So this stuff is for him, by the way. All of the stuff we talk about in our presentations and everything are for pretty houses that we're buying usually for $100 deposit or no deposit or very little deposit. Or if they do need a deposit, we have our buyer bring the deposit to the table. Mm-hmm. So we're not supplying the deposit. It's all low risk, no, no personal secures, none of that stuff.
Yep.
Right. We're not guaranteeing the deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, with our own money.
It's strange. I'm a music teacher in my other life, and a couple of the parents like, "Oh, we're buying a property, investment property. Oh yeah, how are you doing it? With a loan. Yeah, they're going to the bank. They're buying it, almost full price. Yeah. And they're going to hang on to it. So they're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars to make $300 a month.
Yep.
And I say, you should come to the meetup.
Yep.
But they have no clue that there's another way to do it.
Yep.
The realtor found me a place and I'm going to buy it. Or
that is the way to do it. If you're not going to learn if you're not going to study real estate investing, if you just want to go in without an education. I mean, that's kind of like a brain surgeon going into brain surgery and it's like, oh yeah, I watched a YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or a lawyer going to a courtroom with a high-end case and saying, oh yeah, I read a book about it.
Mm-hmm. He watches Bull on TV.
Yeah. All right, so perhaps you feel you're persuasive enough and feel really confident and you're a great communicator. That's the one that I like. When I have clients tell me, oh, I'm a really good communicator.
Well, I am, but it doesn't help when you don't know what to say. I am. You're standing there and the guy says something, you don't have an answer. It doesn't matter how good a communicator you are, except for the fact if you taught one good tip, just keep talking.
Right.
Just say anything, ask questions, just keep going.
It befuddles me, Peter. It befuddles me. I mean, it's like probably the biggest mystery in my universe.
What's that, Bill?
The number one, I can't understand it. I just cannot. I don't even have words for it. I'm stumbling around because I can't even describe how I feel. It is probably the most irritating mystery I have in my entire life. I'll say to my coaching clients, all right, so here's what you do. No matter what, this is the default. You say to them, what would have to happen today for me to buy a house, for me to buy your house? I did it last night at the meetup. We had all those people at the meetup and not one person wrote it down. I had to make fun of them. I had to mock them.
Yeah.
To tell them that you got to go to seminars for $5,000 to hear shit like this.
Yeah.
And even if you did everything, I know so many people are like worried about what they're going to do for the presentation. Well, how are they going to buy the house? Honest to God, you can shortcut the whole thing. Just walk around the house, look at the living room, look at the kitchen, be nice, do the things we're going to talk about in this podcast, okay? And just say to them, hey, Pete, what would have to happen for me to buy your house today? Or you sit down on the couch and you're like, oh, man, this is a great house. Let me ask you a question. What would have to happen for me to buy your house today? You could shortcut everything I'm talking about, and it would go right to what? What would happen?
The offer.
They will give you their offer.
Yeah.
And then you just decide, do I want to do that or not want to do that? Now, are there better offers? Yes. Are there other ways? Yes. But you would get right down to it. And the part that befuddles me is I listen to recordings where my students are in houses because they record themselves. And I hear them on the phone, and it's like it's invisible. It's like they forget, and they're like, oh my God, I forgot. Or, oh, yeah, I should have done that.
Well, I think I should make index cards.
Right? Something.
One card with 6 sentences.
It
3
just
on the front,
is
3
a
on the
mystery
back.
for me because people would buy houses just doing that.
Yeah. And then, but what if it's too high of a price? Well, you have ways to get around too high of a price. You just wait. You have to negotiate the terms.
Right.
You could do it.
So let me give you a good example of good communication that doesn't work.
Oh, okay.
Just go on Facebook, man. Go down your timeline. And what do you read and what don't you read? Nowadays, like, I don't know if it's just my Facebook, but there's a shit ton of advertising on there. I scroll through my Facebook, which, by the way, I don't spend much time on there anyways, because it's just a lot of junk. But the things I pay attention to are the people that I know and the homemade videos. The ones that I know that aren't advertisements. Yeah. All right, so advertisers are good communicators. I'm one. I know I can communicate well. How do I know? Because people buy my shit.
They show up, come to meetings, they follow you.
I send my emails, and we have. I mean, we were in the middle of a snowstorm last night, and we had a packed house. I mean, not as much as we should have had, but it was still. It wasn't a bust.
No.
I mean, we're in the middle of a snowstorm. It started snowing at 3:00.
No, Bill, it was an ice storm.
Ice storm, yeah. Okay.
That was hard. It took me an hour to get home.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah. Look. It was easy coming down. I had nothing. Oops, it did get icy. But the folks showed up, and they weren't local. No. They were from here, there, and all around.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's how I know I'm a good communicator, because I get people to respond. But the point that I'm trying to make is what are you communicating? Is it getting duplicated? Is it getting understood? You know, if I'm thinking about apples, are you too thinking about apples? Or are you thinking about oranges? Because of the way I'm talking.
Yeah.
Right. So here's what it comes down to. So perhaps you feel you're persuasive enough and really competent and a great communicator, but you aren't closing enough deals to support yourself and your family above your needs. Above your needs. Right? I mean,
above is better than at or below.
Right. I mean, if you're a human being on planet Earth, you should have the idea that you should expand. If you need 3 apples, you should try to get 5. Grant Cardone says in his book 10X Rule, get 10. If you need 1 apple, ask for 10, or go for 10. And if you get 5 or 6 or 7, then hooray!
Yeah,
right. I mean, that's just really the only way to think. And if you're not thinking that way, then just look at your environment, because that's what you'll get.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as life is hard and crappy enough. There's a lot of nice people, a lot of stupid things happen, though, and we're not all brilliant or all honest or whatever the heck. That's life. So if you aim for X, you probably won't make X. Right. So my mother told me the other day, you have to aim for the stars to make it to the moon.
There you go.
Thanks, Mom. She's 94. Yeah. She aims for the couch.
And she's not always with us.
She aims for the couch, and then she aims for the chair.
All right. So if you aren't closing on enough deals or supporting your family above your needs, then obviously this podcast is going to help you a lot. Okay? And it's going to be a tremendous eye-opener for you. So some of my happiest clients are people whom bought, studied, and used some of the best real estate guru materials out there.
Like
know that.
Like the poor girl last night?
Yeah. Okay? But what happens is we hear too many of those stories. When I say we, I mean you and I. And more me than you, because I do the coaching. Mm-hmm. Okay? But what happens is too many of them have paid their money with high expectations. They get through the program, something didn't go right, and they land in my lap and want to know how to do deals.
Yeah, because the program ends. It's limited. If it doesn't work out, you're out. And the money's gone, and you don't have a house. And
I have no reason to talk about this on this podcast other than I guess I'm bragging a little bit. But the truth of the matter is that I really help people get deals done. I mean, I'm the nuts and bolts guy, right? And maybe I'm not the greatest marketer. Maybe I'm not the greatest grammar guy or English guy, or how to communicate. I have spelling errors. I don't make good videos. Whatever you might think. I don't dress good enough for you. I'm too fat. I'm too tall. Or whatever thing you want to say. At the end of the day, I know how to make deals.
Yeah,
and I like to help people do that. Right?
Yeah, you cannot judge real estate people by looks.
Yeah,
your room fills up. Even there's I can't even mention, but there's people in the room. You look around, there's people. They just look like guys off the street, like you'd find in a diner. Yeah. Then you find that one's got $1 million worth of property. The other one has money to lend. Yeah. They're sitting on $500,000. It's just bizarre, and they're just like people. So the point is, you don't have to be something special or handsome or the fancy suit and briefcase or any of that crap. Yeah. You just got to be you and go for it. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's bizarre who you think is or isn't. You have no clue.
Right.
You can be sitting next to them on the train.
Exactly. Or stand next to them in a Subway shop.
Yep. Because they don't blow the money. They go to they buy cheap sandwiches and they respect money. They don't blow it.
Yep. All right. So if you're one of these people and you've spent all this money, or maybe you're just getting into it and you're hesitant on spending money, then I believe the people that have spent the money, what we're going to go over today is going to connect the dots for them. Okay? So that's what I'd like to do, because we've got 18 points and we're going to need some time to cover that. Some of them are quick, some of them are not. You know how I am. Sometimes I have to
there's stories,
do a little dissertation and
parables.
Yeah, get sidetracked about talking about my chiropractor friend.
And the mafia, real estate mafia.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, I see the sheet though. Here we go. I really am very curious because I just wrapped up some property things. I got another one wrapping up, and I got to get back in really serious houses. And I think I'm probably going to need some of this. So go.
Okay. So number one, and these are not in order. They're just the way I thought and wrote them down on a piece of paper.
Oh, definitely not in order then.
They're not. There's not like you have to do this one first and that one second. It's just you should do all these things.
Like it's like a puzzle?
No, you should just do all these things.
Okay.
No puzzle. All right. So when you're talking to somebody, okay, number one, when you're talking to somebody, all right, they don't know you from Adam, and they are not going to trust you. Most think that what we do is a scam. Okay? So what you need to do is you need to begin your conversation with your strongest benefit. Okay? And we talked about this last night at the meetup. You want to use a rifle shot, not a shotgun approach. Okay, so you got to get their attention quickly and then show you're different than all the others. And they just don't know about you yet. So it's like kind of like this. They accidentally found you and got into a conversation with you. And the reason why they got into a conversation with you is because you put your strongest benefit first. So suppose I am standing in a coffee shop and a guy says to me, so what do you do? Oh, I buy and sell real estate.
Oh, so you're an agent?
Exactly. See what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Or I say, oh, I'm a real estate investor.
Oh, so you flip houses?
Yeah. And what'd you just think?
That you buy, like television. You
Okay.
buy them, you flip them, you renovate them, and you flip them.
So if I had to buy your house, what would you think if I told you I was an investor?
Oh, you wouldn't buy my house. It doesn't need renovating, and if you did, you'd have to give me not very much money because you'd have to redo the kitchen, even though it's okay, but it's dated, and you wouldn't like it. You have to rip it all out. So no, I wouldn't work with you. You wouldn't give me enough money.
So in short, I wouldn't give you enough money.
Nope.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's not your best foot forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So what do we say, Bill?
So you could just, I do all kinds of different things, but I'm like, oh yeah, I buy houses for top dollar.
Mm.
That's all you got to say.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I buy real estate and pay top dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Or, yeah, I'm known for paying way too much money for real estate from buyers.
Overpaying.
Yeah. That's another one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm known for overpaying for real estate.
How about knowing for giving people their asking price?
Yeah. Well, no, because that could be done. They just don't know what's connected to it.
Mm-hmm.
How about this one? Oh, yeah, I'm known for paying more than a realtor can get.
Mm. Did you write those down?
No.
Damn.
It's just what I would say. But the point
Bill,
is...
I hate to tell you, but that's what the important part.
Yeah. So
folks,
you
get your
begin
pencils and paper and then send me a copy when you're done.
So begin with your strongest benefit.
Mm.
Right? Get their attention.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're selling a piece of property, and we've talked about this so much, and you're an actual seller, what do you really want?
Well, besides offer, ultimately you want the best price.
Right.
The most money you can get out of the property.
So most people think that the answer to that question is well, if I'm a seller, I want a buyer.
Mm.
No, you don't. That's not true. What you want is an offer so that you can make sure you and the buyer are on the same page. If you're selling a $200,000 house and I'm a buyer at $100,000, do you want me?
Nope. Get out.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So what you want is you want to know what I think. So if I say to you, oh yeah, Peter, I could $200,000, yeah, I could give you $198,000, and you're thinking, oh, I could work with that. Because I went up anyways. I really only wanted 190, and I asked too much, so I can negotiate down. So in your head, you're thinking, oh yeah, well, I'm getting $8,000 more than I originally intended.
Sure.
Everybody does that. What do you think? That's some secret? You think you know something that the rest of the world doesn't know?
Mm-hmm.
You think you're, what's his name? Clouseau? What's his name?
Inspector Clouseau?
Yeah, Inspector Clouseau, and you're like got some inside a magical secret that you're going to investigate this guy, and you're going to get one up on him or something like that. I mean,
well, he was the accidental genius.
Yeah, there you go. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody knows how to do that. So you got to pierce through that. So what you need to do is you need to put yourself in a position to make them an offer. Mm. But you got to get their attention first.
Mm-hmm. And make you seem like something different, not the usual,
right.
Not what they already think they expect, because we're not.
Right. So that's number one. And we're going to probably, there's another one a little bit further down that's a little bit similar to this, but it's a little bit more, anyways, we'll get there one. So let's move on. Number 2. Address the sale of the house on a personal note. So many of my coaching clients are like, oh yeah, well, we could do this and we could do that. And who's we? What, do you got a mouse in your freaking pocket?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I would, voicemail. We would love to hear what you have to say. So give us a call, give us a message, and we will call you back. Well, who's we? What are you going to have, a conference call? You know what I mean?
Bill, you know what the parallel to that or similar to that is in music? When you're on stage, you're not supposed to say how you all doing. You're supposed to say, how are you doing? A lecture, a workshop, like, how are you?
Yeah, I cover that.
Right?
Yeah. So address the sale of the house on a personal note. Figure out what prompted them to sell now. Right? Now, you did this some time back, but you say to them, scan back and tell me when you decided to actually put this house on the market. Oh, it was, February of 2010.
Oh, really? What happened?
Exactly.
I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah.
Because, everything happens on a time track.
Right.
And if you put the person back when it happened, he'll re-experience what he was thinking and the problem or the solution he was looking for, whatever that is. But it's like more real.
Absolutely.
Remember the vacation you went on last time?
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah.
Where were you?
Yeah.
How did it feel?
Exactly.
Was it warm?
Right.
Oh, you were skiing.
See?
Too cold for me.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So what you got to do is you got to imagine being in their shoes, going through what they're going through for real. Okay?
So you have to be somewhat empathetic.
As if, totally empathetic. Empathetic means putting yourself in the other guy's shoes.
Not sympathetic, but like really understanding.
Right. As if the problem was yours too. Now, when I'm making offers, I do a lot of that. It's like I start talking about how we could do this, or I could do this and you could do that. And it's like all of a sudden I became their family member. It's like all of a sudden I became part of the family, or it's like their $10,000 loss is like, oh, I'm going to split it with you. I'll give you 5. You give me 5. I'm giving bad examples, but when I'm giving offers, that's what I do. I make their problem mine too. Because if I'm going to buy this house, guess what?
It will be.
They are going to be my problems. The taxes are $30,000. Okay, here's what I can do. And it'll help you because I'll do this. Right. And we're in the problem together.
So they won't feel as alone that way.
Right. So let's say you get a picture. Put a picture in your head, and there's like this big canyon. It's like really deep, and on the bottom there's a river. Right?
Is it pretty grand?
No. It's just like this. You're like in the jungle, and there's this canyon, or I don't know what else to call it. Like this, it's like a canyon, and it goes down deep, and there's a river on the bottom. I mean, it's
wicked
like,
big gully.
Yeah, that's right. And you're on one side, and your wife is on the other side, or somebody's on the other side, right? And you need to get her across because there's some monster or dinosaur, I don't know, pick some army, whatever you want to, coming after her, and they're going to kill her. Right? And you got to get her across the canyon.
Poison spiders.
Poison spiders. Oh my God. We're way off the deep end now. Your mind is going to, in that state of emergency, your mind is actually going to put yourself in her shoes and start giving you solutions of what you would do if you were her. Right? And you're almost in your mind going to go over to that side of the canyon and start thinking about how she could do it. And you're going to start telling her, do this, do that, do this.
That's right. That's right. You see that tree over there? Go there.
Right. That's no different than when you're giving an offer. Is you have to put yourself in that type of a situation. Does that make sense?
Oh, no, totally.
Or should I don't want to belabor it too much.
No, it makes so much sense, but people don't realize that when you start this business, you just think you're buying something like you're going to Home Depot to buy a home or you're going to the store to buy a lollipop. It's not.
Right.
You're not buying a house. You're buying something from a person.
Right.
And you have to talk to people.
Right.
And you might not be expecting that, but that's what happens.
Well, my bad humor talks about that. How many closings have I been to and I never saw a house sign the paperwork?
Yeah.
Right? It's always been a person.
That's not just math and just how much and here's your offer and go home. That's buying rehab properties from the bank on MLS. That's another story.
Right.
This is people.
So we've cleared that up. That's 2.
Yeah.
Number 3. Start your conversations by expanding on the benefits. Now, the first one we talked about, when you begin you begin with your strongest benefit.
Yeah, like it's a general though, because you still don't know the person's story yet, right?
Okay, so that's right. So I want to. This is a little bit confused. I think this could be confusing. Maybe I completely got it, but I want to make sure everybody else does. So and the first one, what do we say? What did I say? Begin with your strongest benefit.
Yeah.
Begin. What does that mean? You're getting their attention.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, number 3, it says start your conversation. So number 1, we got their attention. Oh yeah,
right.
I buy houses and pay top dollar.
Yeah, that's just your generalized description of yourself.
You
got nothing to do with their property or their situation because you don't know yet.
Which, by the way, I just realized what I say all the time, and I didn't even tell you.
Oh.
It's like I pay whatever price you're asking for a house as long as I can pick the terms.
Mm-hmm.
That's a common thing that I've recently said a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so number 3, start your conversation by expanding on the benefits. Okay, so you're going to start talking about it now. You got their attention, you're going to start talking about it. Example, I'll pay top price for your house. Or like I just said, I'll pay your asking price as long as I get to pick the terms.
Mm.
Okay? Another one which I've used for a long time is sell your house as is for a fair price on a date of your choice.
Mm.
Why is that? Because it's been tested that book covers, titles of books, should only use 1 or 3 benefits in the subtitle. So, like, how to draw a picture in your underwear with an apple and a pretty girl, whatever the benefits are, right? Or just 1 benefit. How to draw a picture in 10 minutes.
So 1 to 3.
No, it's either 1 or 3.
Oh, not 2?
Right.
Get out of here.
And it's been tested.
Why would that be?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have to know.
That's the problem with tests. You don't know. It just works. So 1 or 3.
Right. Benefits.
Yeah. After the main
sell
offer.
your house as is for a fair price on the date of your choice. There's 3 of them. It's done that way intentionally because it's been tested that that's what works. 3 benefits.
How many did I put on my new sign?
I don't know.
I have to go look at my new sign.
I don't know.
Because I didn't know that before I did it. Yeah. I think I got 3.
Yeah.
I must have copied yours.
So does that make sense? So start your conversation by expanding on your benefits.
Mm-hmm.
So you open the conversation up. Now you're going to expand on it. Keep talking about the benefits.
Those 3 or whatever comes up.
Just keep talking about the benefits. Okay? So you don't need to elaborate on how you're going to do it until they say, yes, I'm interested, or yes, I want that. And then you say, let me explain how it works. And then you go into that. What happens with too many investors is they get into all the technical stuff way too early. So get their attention with the number 1 benefit and then keep talking about the benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Number 4, what you said before, try to use the word you, Y-O-U, every chance you get without the seller noticing it. Okay? So I try to start my presentation with it. So I'll give you an example. I want to help you figure out the best way to sell your house. Right?
You accented like that too? You're just doing that for the show right now?
I'm doing that for the show.
Yeah, otherwise it sticks out. So you're just telling that.
I want to help you figure out the best way to sell your house, whether I buy it or not. That's usually what I say. Right? What does that do?
Well, that's what they're trying to do.
Right.
So that connects with their thought, with their goal.
It tunes us into the radio station.
That's what I meant.
WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Good,
right?
That's a good one.
WIIFM. What's in it for me? Okay?
Okay.
Good. How are we doing on time?
39.
Okay. I can't see that far. She has to tell me. And we're only on number 5. So 5. 5 is a very peculiar one because it happens a lot, and if it's not named, you won't know you're doing it.
Huh.
So here we go. Don't give a seminar.
Oh, yeah.
Our industry uses a lot of trade language like subject to or lease option, maybe land contract. It's not familiar with the seller, and you'll lose them quickly if you start using our industry standard language.
No, you got to speak English.
Yeah. Or say, I'm going to use a land contract. Here's what that means. Or here's how it works. Take the time to tell them why. And I'm going to cover that in a few minutes, why you do that. Okay, but just for the sake of time, we're going to keep moving. So does that make sense?
Well, sure.
Don't give them a seminar and don't use industry terms. So many times somebody will come to one of my seminars or somebody else's seminars, be all hyped up and sit in the house, and then they're going to tell them all about the seminar, all the things they can do that they learned in that seminar. And the customer's on the other side of the table saying, get this guy out of here.
It's a shotgun.
Yeah. This is no different than a blind date and you're trying to get out. That's what it's like. Right?
Guy's telling you all about his vacation and his mother and
right. Okay.
Not listening.
Totally. All right, 6. If you make a claim, prove it. So have some sort of demonstration of your claim. All right. I do this with stories that relate to situations the seller's in. So I don't tell arbitrary stories. I tell stories about things that have punchlines of the problem they're in. Okay? So let me finish reading this. Plus, it opens up the seller to feeling comfortable in return with his or her stories. So I don't think I put that in here, but one of the things that I do is I'll walk around the house, I'll look at the house, and I'll sit down on the kitchen table or the living room, wherever we're going to talk, and very often I'll start with a story. And the reason why is because I feel like if I start with a story, they'll open up and tell me a story. And it kind of like puts us in good relationship.
Sounds like you're in conversation.
Right.
So how do you know what story to tell if you just sat down? Do you have some idea what's going on by then?
It could be about the dog. Could be like about the furnace room we just looked at. Could be about, I looked at a house like this one time. You could be telling my stories to them. It doesn't have to be something that happened to me. It doesn't have to be my experience. I saw on YouTube yesterday there was a dog like that, and it was the funniest thing I ever saw.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
So this isn't a terribly serious conversation yet. This is just warming things up and starting a dialogue of some kind.
Right. So I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this because somebody I'm sure.
Well, there's nothing you can say that won't, so just go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm sure somebody will take offense to this. But religion's that way. I mean, look at the Bible. The Bible are stories. And there are actually people, and I'm religious. You know I'm religious. And I'm not even saying that. Anyways, the Bible's supposed to be 2,000 years plus old. If you go into history, the Bible's been changed by kings. It's not the same story.
No,
it's not. The stories have been slanted to help them.
They pulled parts of it out.
Right. So, you have many religions that are very faithful to the gospel that's being spoken, but they don't really investigate where do those stories come from. Are they true? Okay. Or have they been changed? Now, faith is faith, and I'm not going to undo that. My point is that how could something last so long? And it's because of the story aspect. Because we pass down from generation to generation what happened. Right? So stories is something that has been in human behavior for a very long time. Up until recently, when we've had, written words and computers and ways to pass these stories around, it was all verbal. It was a father telling a son and a grandfather telling a nephew, whatever, you know what I mean? But it was stories.
Yeah, the wise men pass it down to the next wise
Right.
man, and they memorize the entire dialogue.
So I don't think you should go in and give them 13 chapters of your life. But my point is that when somebody's going through something, having a relevant story with a good turnout or a bad turnout so that they avoid it, right, it is a very important thing to do. So having stories, and it doesn't have to be, you could tell my stories. You could say, I have a friend, and here's what he did. You could, it doesn't matter. It's very human interaction related. Okay, because people are comfortable with telling stories because it's been happening for generations, lifetimes. Okay, does that make sense?
Absolutely.
All right, good. So, yeah. So if you make a claim, then prove it, and I do it a lot of times through stories.
Okay.
And that was what number 6 was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 7. This you would think I would have started with because you know how I feel about this. Don't lie.
Oh.
And if I need to explain this to you, well, I don't know what to say.
You've already got the wrong idea of this business.
If I got to explain don't lie to you, then I'm not sure.
Go read the Bible.
Yeah, I guess. That's a good one, Pete. 8. Show innocence. Show innocence. Don't be superficial. I've got this happening with a few coaching clients, which will remain nameless. Don't pretend like it's something it isn't. People can see right through fake.
So what's happening? What's actually happening when the?
So you're trying to pretend like you're upbeat or cheerful.
Oh.
And it's fake.
Oh.
Let me give you an example. I watch, this is no secret in my life. This is a Bill weirdness, okay? Last Man Standing.
Mm-hmm.
I think his wife is probably one of the most attractive women on planet Earth. I don't know why. I don't even know her name. Vanessa is on the show, right? So I watched that show. I watch that and the 70s show, and I watch some news channels once in a while. Sometimes more news channels, and it depends on what Donald Trump is doing, right? Or President Trump. Okay? But that's about the extent of my TV. As much as I admire the way that actress looks, the truth of the matter is it's fake. Because I watch the TV and it's like she comes down in the morning to have her cup of coffee and she looks perfect. In other words, her hair wasn't messed up. She got out of bed looking like that.
She looks like she just got out of makeup.
Right. You understand?
Sure.
So that's fake. So a lot of times somebody will sound happy and sound cheerful when they really aren't. They're mocking it up.
The eyes give it away because they don't smile with them.
Right.
I'm not kidding. I mean, I see people do that, and you can just see in their eyes it doesn't match.
Right. So if you're not and sometimes people are cheerful all the time, and their life really sucks because they're just ignoring their life and just acting like they're just going to ignore it. So all I'm saying is show innocence. It's okay for you to get angry, or it's okay for you to show some emotions or disagree with somebody. It's okay to be natural.
Being cheerful and happy might not be the right emotion anyways. If you're talking to somebody who's got a problem in their house, hi, how are you?
Right.
Just talk to them and just be real.
So I was in a house a couple days ago, and I find out within 15 minutes or 30 minutes of talking to this woman that in the last year, her husband died. She's only 50 years old. Her husband died from a severe cancer. She lost her job and had to move from Connecticut to New Jersey. and her daughter, who's 35 years old, is a drug addict, and she's now got her 8-year-old and 10-year-old grandkids living with her.
Lovely.
If I was being cheerful with her, what would happen?
You'd look like a complete idiot, completely uncaring.
Right.
So sympathy or empathy is probably much closer to where you should be.
Right. So in the sales world, this has a specific name.
Yeah.
And I didn't put this here, but I just remembered it, so I'm going to talk to it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's called mirroring.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever emotion they show, you do.
Mm-hmm.
If they're crying, then you cry along with them.
Mm.
If they're happy, you're happy with them. Okay? And I don't mean in a fake way. I mean like sincerely be there. Like if I've had that happen where I've been in interviews and they're telling me their story and I'm so engrossed in it that I start to tear up myself.
Mm. Well, if you
because I really feel that way. I'm not like acting.
No, but if you really talk to somebody and they're telling you something, wouldn't you gravitate to
Right.
how they're feeling?
Right.
If you're actually talking to them and looking them straight in the eye,
Right.
instead of walking around looking at the walls and just spieling,
Yep.
talk to them. Listen.
Okay?
Go along for the ride.
So be innocent. Just be you. Be real.
Yeah.
Don't try to be something you're not. Don't pretend like you're the investor that's done 30 deals when you've only done one. Tell them, I've only done one. But I have a mentor. I have this, or I'm going to this, or I'm going to that. You're better off.
Yep.
It just works better. Okay? Number 9. Match your actions with your words. If you say something, do it. This is the fastest way to build trust and loyalty with your seller. Which, by the way, you only have to do this 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah, because you don't have to screw it up 2, 3, 4, 5 times to like lose it.
Right.
Or especially on their part if they don't do what they're supposed to do.
So if you tell them you're going to be there at 10 o'clock, be there at 10 o'clock. If you tell them that you're going to, okay, I'm going to call you on Tuesday and I'm going to find out how much the tax bill is. I'm going to find out what the comps are and I'm going to talk to my realtor and see what he says. When you call him at 2 o'clock, you say, here's this, here's that, here's this. Mm-hmm. Here's what I found.
Mm-hmm. Guys, you told me that about a year or more ago, and it's so important. It explains so much about people.
Right.
That I know, right. You, the folks listening. Yeah. And people you have trouble with. That's why.
Right. And I figured that out because I had 2 teenage daughters. Right?
Yeah.
And what's a dad think about teenage daughters? Are they going to get pregnant?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wanted that. Personally, I still want that because I want grandkids. But the point is...
There's a way to do it, Bill.
Yeah, exactly. There's supposed to be a sequence, right?
Yeah.
Wrong step, Bill. Too steep of a gradient.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's when I figured it out because it's like, what do boys tell girls? Anything they can to get in their pants. That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I started thinking about it, and that's like, well, match their word, match their action. So if he tells you he's going to meet you Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock, then you should trust him.
Mm.
And you should keep trusting him until his actions don't match his words.
Yep.
That's when you like jump ship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And call him on it.
I was reading something about trust the other day, and it also said, encourage people or make sure they keep their word too.
I was just going to say that.
It's like if you're going to keep your word, you want the other guy to keep the word. So look, I'm going to ask you to do a few things. I mean, Sorry I had to fire my contractors because they broke their promise 3 times. 3 strikes, I'm done.
Right.
Not doing it, so never mind. Made another call. Within hours, we were together. Right. By the next day, half the job was done. Like, that's how you do business. I like that.
Right.
So, yeah, but you expect the other person to hold their own, too.
We talk about doing terms deals all the time. What we don't talk about is because here's what's really going on. It's kind of like a tennis court. Like, which ball is the court on?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, which
side of the net?
Which side of which court is the ball on?
Yeah.
Which side of the net, right?
Yeah.
And here's what happens. Your seller is completely skeptical of you. Is he a scam? Is he really going to do this? What are my liabilities? You need to overcome that in the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one thing you got to do to buy a house on terms. And often, I will say in my presentation, funny thing is this. you're sitting there wondering if I'm the right solution. Truth of the matter is I'm wondering if you are. Because here's what happens. I'm going to sell to a rent-to-own buyer, and I have a contract with them. And if you don't fulfill your agreement, I am now in legal trouble because I'm between you and them. And I didn't lie to them, but you might have lied to me. How do I know you're paying your mortgage bill? If I pay you a rent, how do I know you're paying your mortgage? And then all of a sudden the house goes in foreclosure, and I have a contract with a buyer for 2 years that they did nothing wrong.
Nor you.
And nor I, yeah. But you didn't pay your mortgage because of whatever's going on with your life, because you got a divorce, or because your house burned down, or because your husband died. I don't know. But you now just, so I have more of a liability than you do. And when they start to get that, it's like phenomenal. So they're being skeptical of you, and what happens is too many investors go on the defense with that. And not me. I go right on the offense with it. I go right on the offense because I put it right in their face. How do I know I can trust you? Because honestly, I have more than one house. I have a business to run. And if you jeopardize that business, it's not just your house anymore. It's all these other families and all these other contracts. Because if I have to take all my money to go handle you because you lied, what does that do to all these other people? I mean, all these other families. So the risk is on me, not you. You get it?
Sure.
It's like, it's a different way to look at it, but when you do the things I'm talking about, it changes the dynamic in the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, first off, if I can throw something in, when somebody has an attitude towards you, don't fight it. Don't be defensive. Be completely understanding. Of course you don't have to.
Right.
I don't expect you to trust me. Of course, that's totally fine.
Right.
And you completely diffuse it, but then do a few things that you said you're going to do, and they start to trust you.
Exactly.
Don't fight it.
Exactly.
But don't let them, off the hook either.
Yeah.
I'll do my part. You got to do your part.
So that's what my point was, is that, they have to, so what I do is, like, when I leave, because I don't like close the deal the first time I'm there. Sometimes I do. If they're just gonna, like, turn the house over to me and let me take over the mortgage payment, I'll do that. But there's always something that has to be done. First thing is a title search, which takes 5 days. Okay. So for me, it takes 5 days. So the point is this: I'll give them 2 or 3 things to do. So it's like, by Tuesday, can you do this? Can you do this? And can you do that? And there'll be small things like, can you call your lawyer, call your, whatever. Right? And then when I talk to them, I'll say, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do this? And if they didn't, I automatically think, well, should I trust them?
Sure.
Did their actions match their words? Because I'm going to go into a long-term relationship with them. All this does in my head is it makes me think, should I get them out of the deal? For example, if I was thinking about doing a lease option or a rent to own with them,
right,
I'll be like, well, I can't trust them. I need to now turn it into a subject to deal where I put the title in my name and I take over the deal and don't allow them to mess it up.
Right, because you got control now.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So that's all I'm trying to get to here, because it goes both ways. Okay, so the interview is more, or the presentation is more about, will I accept them into my program, than it's about me convincing them that I'm their solution. Because if I take that perspective, it changes the dynamic of the whole conversation, because it's like putting me on the other side of the table. All the things we're talking about, it's putting me in their shoes, because I now am going to own this house. And I'm going to have all the responsibilities that go along with it. And I'm going to be talking to them and asking the right questions in that light. And it's the same problems they're going through now. Do you get it?
Sure.
You're saying sure. I don't know if I just want to make sure I'm making this point.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can move on?
Yeah.
I haven't belabored it too much?
I think you're perfect.
Whoa! Tell that to my wife. Number 10.
I'll see her later.
Number 10. Tell the seller what to do. I just talked about this. Subtly, I didn't talk about this. I'm sorry. Tell the seller what to do. Don't be subtle. I have so many like clients, and these are the clients that act fake, by the way.
Oh.
You know, and they're like pretending to be something they're not. They have a little bit of a confront issue, and they're like trying to be their friends, and they're trying to be polite on how they talk to them because they don't want to confront the fact that they may not like it. Right? So you are the professional. You are the one studying this system or how to do it. You're there to give them a plan. Induce action. Don't just describe the deal. Ask for it. Prove you're the best solution without being salesy. Right? I am going to buy your house. We are going to do paperwork on Tuesday. At what time on Tuesday can you do it?
Mm-hmm.
You are going to need your attorney. What's his name? I am going to need to fix the tax bill. Where's the receipts, or where's what you owe?
Mm-hmm.
You know, where's the documents?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I can't commit to your mortgage payment till I see your bank statement to see how much you owe. Give me the statement.
Your mortgage statement.
Yeah. Okay. So induce action is the key words there, right? And don't be mean or obtrusive or anything like that, but just be firm. Here's what we need to do. Now, this is past the close. This is, delivering what you promise.
Okay.
Okay. So these are things that you need to look at, because when you start talking about, it's kind of like an affirmation. You know what an affirmation is?
I don't use that term myself. I know generally, but what context do you mean?
A lot of times, like Think and Grow Rich, he talks about affirmations. He talks about, I want to have $1 million. Well, put yourself in a year from now and having the $1 million and actually role playing it in your head, right? That you have the $1 million. That's an affirmation.
Got it.
So it's kind of like that. So it's like you're going to walk your seller through that scenario. Well, once I file the deed, here's what's going to happen. I'll give you a classic example of what I mean about this, and then we'll move on. I tell the seller, and this is huge. This is huge because I'm surprised at how many people like this benefit. You don't have to leave the place broom swept like with a realtor. Just take what you want and leave the rest. So they got a house full of crap. They don't know what to do with it. And you're telling them, just leave it. Take what you want. If you want to take the flowers on the kitchen table and a suitcase and leave everything else, I'm totally fine with that. Except there is one rule. Do not come back looking for anything once you leave the house, because it's gone. And I tell them, and I used not to do this, I tell them this. My guys are going to sell your stuff. They're going to throw it away. They're going to take it home to their wives. Quite honestly, I don't care what they do with it. I want an empty house. And I tell them that. Because what happens? My guys come in and they sell shit. They bring it to the pawn shop. I bought a house one time in Bristol, and we found 200 golf clubs in a shed in the attic. And I found out later that my guy got $1,000 for the golf clubs.
Holy cow.
Okay? And you know what? I didn't care. Some people would be like, well, you should have got half that money. Yeah, probably. But you know what? That guy did 28 renovations for me and was never a problem because they allowed him to make his money. My numbers all worked. When I did my math and he did the jobs, the numbers worked. If he made more money, God bless him.
And maybe he won't raise his rate on you that way.
Whatever.
Throw him a couple of bones once in a while.
He did 28 renovations in a row. And I wish I had him back. Make sense?
Sure.
All right. Let me go back. Make sure I have that covered. Oh, man. We're way over time. So tell the seller what to do. All right. This is an interesting one. Number 11. Imply bulk or community acceptance. so that you don't feel like they're the only one doing this.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah.
I tell them about how the realtors have been around since 1949 because they trademarked the word realtor and September 13th, 1949, and October 1949, they formed an association.
Mm-hmm.
So what did we do to buy and sell real estate before them? And oh yeah, by the way, I buy a lot of houses like this. I bought a few hundred houses like this. I make it so that they're not the only ones doing this, that they're like the freak or the tester or the pilot.
Nobody else does this.
Yeah.
No, well, we're not realtors. We don't have offices with the buildings and the signs and all that. So we're all independent. Right. So we're not noticed. We're just going around doing this. So it happens a lot, but you don't hear about it.
Right.
You know, you don't open the paper and see the real estate section, then the for sale by owner section, and then the independent professional buyer. No.
Right.
But you just tell them that.
They're lucky to find us. We're a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
And that's the viewpoint you should have. Number 12, be helpful. Give news and information that will help them with their situation they are currently in and have the most attention on. Okay? This will elevate you as an opinion leader and a trusted comrade. So if you're only interested in helping them, whether you buy the house or not, here is what will happen. If you don't buy that house and you become the professional, elevated opinion leader, they will tell somebody else about you. Now, I'm way too far into the show, but if you want to, there's a few books that I've read that have evidence, statistical evidence, that people remember your first 10 minutes of the conversation and the last 10 minutes of the conversation. Everything in between doesn't stick unless they're talking about them. If they talk about them and they're telling their stories, they'll remember it. Otherwise, they don't remember it. It only goes 3 days if they do.
Funny.
Okay? By the way, that book is The Asking, if you want to read it. I don't know who the author is. Number 13. Keep the tone of the meeting cheerful and enthusiastic, but not fake. It has to be natural. Okay? And when I mean cheerful and enthusiastic, I'm not like talking about like
cheerleading.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Peter.
Cheerleading.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
Just be upbeat. In other words, don't be optimistic, not pessimistic.
Well, if you're coming up with good solutions for them, if you're sitting there like, well, what's your problem? What if we do this? Hey, that would work.
Right.
And we could do that. Then you can make this much, and I'll do that, and yeah, that'll work. And it's going to be enthusiastic or encouraging because you're coming up with a solution for something that maybe they're losing sleep over.
Right. And the magic of it is that if you're actually putting yourself in their shoes, you'll start thinking that way and it will be natural. If you're really putting yourself in their shoes, like if I was this dude, what would I do? And how many times have you heard that with my coaching? How many times have you heard me talk to people like that? Well, I can't give you advice, but I can tell you what I would do if I was in your shoes. And that's the reason why I do it, is because it makes it so that now I'm like walking across that bridge holding their hand saying, yeah, we're going to fix this. I'm walking across that threshold.
Right.
Or that bridge. I picture it like a bridge. It's like we're walking across the bridge and we're holding hands and we're looking down on our feet and we're kind of like talking about how we're going to handle this problem.
Right.
Together. Kind of like a married couple, like together. How are we going to handle little Mikey? He ate the cereal. What was that commercial? Mikey liked it, remember?
Oh, yeah.
He ate the cereal, right?
He ate it?
My bad humor. All right. So keep the tone of the meeting enthusiastic and cheerful. I don't mean like a cheerleader. That's a great way to put it. I'm talking about be optimistic, not pessimistic.
Well, just the nature of life. If you have a little problem and you figure a way to solve it, you're happy.
Right.
And you figure, oh, what about that? Well, if we do that, oh, okay, yeah, and you'll feel a little bit happy. Right. So it'll keep the thing moving along. If you don't, you'll feel crappy, and if you do, just leave. Right. if it's a real dog and you can't do anything with it at all.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll come up with some good solutions, and both people will feel better.
Apropos to what you're talking about, my response to that is definition of solution. What's the definition of solution? Problem goes away. That's the definition of solution. Problem goes away. Right? Because that's what it is.
Right.
Right? So if you can make them feel confident the problem's going to go away, and you're going to help them, and you're in the ditch digging with them, then guess what? No matter if somebody else offers them 20 grand more money may not be the problem. Right?
If it doesn't solve the problem, it isn't.
Let me give you a classic example of that. And I know I'm kind of droning on about this, but you buy a house and you have somebody that's in the house that has poor credit or can't go, doesn't have a place to go. They have no place to go. So, yeah, you're going to give them 20 grand, you're going to give them 30 grand, but what are they going to do with it? Where are they going to go? 20 or 30 grand isn't going to buy them another house. They have bad credit. They can't get a mortgage. They can't go apply at some rental place because the rental company won't take them. What do you do? See what I mean?
Sure.
So money doesn't always fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, here we go. Number 14. Make it sound easy. Make it sound easy. Don't talk about the seller having to do much. You're going to do a majority of the work. Okay? Talk about how you'll do it for them. This is what I'm going to do for you. Here's what my staff is going to do. Here's what my attorney is going to do. Here's what my blah, blah, blah is going to do. My, whatever. My realtor is going to give me comps. Whatever. Okay? So that they're just going to go along for the ride in getting their benefits without all the stress and the hard work. And just keep talking like that, because that's really what's going to happen. Okay? Number 15. Don't take anything for granted. Don't take anything for granted. Always repeat things and clarify.
And have them repeat back sometimes?
Yeah, have them repeat back.
I've seen you do that.
Yeah. Too many deals blow up later if this is not done. Be on the same page all the time by constantly asking if you have it correct. Or do I have this right?
Let me see if I got this straight.
Yeah. Let me see if I got this right. If I can talk to your soon-to-be ex-husband and he says he'll sign the deed, you'll sell me the house, right? Oh, no, I didn't say that. No. No, I want 10 grand. See what just happened?
Well, then you found out what it really is. So you'll find out later when it blows up.
Right.
Or, yeah.
Or I'll say, so if I talk to your soon-to-be ex-husband and get him to sign the deed, you'll sell me the house for what you owe on it, and we can walk away from this and you can get out of this situation, right? Yes. Then you know what to do. Okay, so always check, always clarify, and don't take anything for granted that they think that they're on the same page. So many clients leave a house and tell me they're going to buy the house, and guess what happens? They get ghosted.
Oh.
Ghosted means that they disappear. They don't answer the phone, they don't answer the text, and they just drop communication. It's happening to me right now on a presentation I did 4 or 5 days ago. She told me, I really like this idea. I think that we should do this. Come back on Sunday. I'm in the house on a Friday. Come back on Sunday, and she's completely ghosted me. Okay? She was being fake with me to get me out of her house. She's telling me what I wanted to hear, so I would leave. Happens way too much.
Wow.
Okay? 16. Only make one offer at a time. Be very specific. Do not try to rattle all the types of offers that I teach you about and give it to your client.
You're not selling pies here.
Yeah. Figure out where the pain is and give the antidote for that cure.
No. Give the antidote for, you say for the cure.
Okay. So give them the antidote.
Yeah. That will cure it. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It'll stop the pain. So if they don't want to give you a deed and it's a subject to deal, then say, okay, how about we do a lease with an option or a rent to own? And then stop talking about subject to and start talking about rent to own. Now, what I do in that particular case is okay, well, if we do it this way, where does the liability land? If somebody trips and falls and you're doing a rent to own with me, they're suing you, not me. If we do it the other way and I get the deed, then they're suing me, not you.
Right. So after you show the two offers, you could compare them if needed,
Yes.
just to show benefits and liabilities of both, so you can really pick more carefully what would be better.
Exactly.
Okay.
Number 17.
Uh-huh.
So that's clear?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, by the way, if you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff, all 7 of my offers that I normally give are presented there. I demonstrate each one of those offers by doing deal structuring in a meeting I did, and it explains how you buy them, how you sell them, and what the results are. In other words, how much money you make. So if you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff, you can see all that for free. 17. If you think you have a deal in the house, test the seller. I talked about this earlier. Give them 2 or 3 simple tasks when you leave to go over the next few days. Okay? This way, when you call them back, ask them how they made out. If nothing is done, you can assume the seller is not interested, but they rather desire it. So the difference between interest and desire is like, I wish this would happen, and they don't do anything. Okay? Interest is, yes, I'm doing this. What do I do next? There's a big difference between those 2 words.
So what do you say when they don't do what they're supposed to? They don't do their homework. What do you say?
I don't know what I say. It depends on the situation. I mean, but it would be like, so what happened? Did you change your mind? Or do you have some concerns? Or do you have like buyer's remorse? Are you thinking about something after we talked? I mean, there's a bunch of things that you have to cover. Did you talk to somebody else is a big one. Did you talk to somebody else about the deal is a huge one. Because that usually will influence them.
Sure.
Right? And then you have to go back and redo your presentation.
Okay.
And that happens a lot. That's why I always say I would buy 7 or 8 houses a month for a long time and only close on 3 or 4 because of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Number 18, if you make promises, prove you can keep them. Prove you can keep them and deliver as promised. Prove you can keep them. If this is done correctly, you will lose the seller's ideas of the seller requesting deposits, attorneys, and short-term deals. They'll just roll with you. So if I have clients that are, coaching clients that are telling me that they're asking, if I notice that every deal they're getting, I need a deposit, then I know I have a coaching client that's not building confidence. They're being fake. They think they're being happy and cheerful. They're acting. But the clients can see right through it. The sellers can see right through it, and they're not confident. Okay,
that's interesting. I never heard you put it that way. If they have enough confidence in you, then they don't start worrying about, well, I want to show this to my lawyer.
Right.
They need a deposit, so they have some coverage on it and other things like that. They want the money all at once because they're afraid to extend it. So there's
what provoked that in my mind is you got a free and clear owner. And they're like, yeah, I'll finance you, but I want 50% down. So why would he say that? Because they feel like 50% is enough money for you to have skin in the game, so they'll get the rest of their money. So it just came down to confidence.
Yeah.
And that's what provoked that whole thought process in my mind. And for, some time now, I've been watching it, and I've just noticed that when coaching clients say, they're willing to sell me, but I got to have it, it's just a confidence issue.
Yeah.
They didn't do their presentation with enough confidence, because I'm going to tell you the difference between me and anybody listening to this podcast or doing anything like what we do is that when I deliver an offer, I do it with utter certainty and confidence. I don't, there's nothing they can say or do that can rattle me. Matter of fact, when I do a presentation, it's game for me because I'm hoping they can say something to me that I've never heard before. It's a game for me.
Of course, the rest of us are hoping they won't.
Yeah. And I'm hoping.
Please don't come up with some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Right. Give me something different, because I've already heard all this.
Yeah.
And when they're telling it to me, sometimes in my head, when they're like, blah, 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 I'm like, come on, get it over with. I'm ready to give you my answer. I already know what your problem is. I've heard this like 10,000 times. So I'm in my head thinking, okay, you can stop talking now. And you have to be careful, because otherwise you have to let them finish. Because if you try to cut into their communication, it's like they don't feel like you totally got them.
Yeah. They don't know that you know exactly what they're talking about,
Right.
so you have to be very patient and look interested.
So another long show. That's 2 weeks in a row, Peter. But we slammed all the 18 points. Agreed?
There's some good stuff in there.
Yeah.
I mean, just to have that all in one place as a guide, an overall guide to how to do the presentation.
Right. So the description was, truth be told, your words determine what you get in life. So if you have more great answers than your prospects have questions, the stress goes out of making offers and your confidence soars. That is why scripts are so important to us. And when I say script, I mean organize words before they are said. More important, you can't just hope that you will think of something to say and that it will be good enough to buy a house. However, I have found if you don't add these 18 points to your presentation, the scripts sound unnatural and salesy and cause your seller to not act. And if you don't know them, you will have 18 weaknesses expert investors use to create tremendous lifelong income that makes stock market returns look like a bad joke. Let's face it, if you're not rich from real estate, you may not be doing these 18 fundamentals. I think we've covered that.
Nice job.
Yeah. Thank you. FlippingHousesForRookies.com is the place to go. If you go there, both podcasts, if you're listening to this podcast, we have another podcast that's called Flipping Houses Startup Boot Camp, which is completed now. We've completed that last week. It's a checklist of podcasts. It's actually the podcasts are laid out in checklist format. So you start at the very beginning. If you think you want to get into flipping houses and you want to start this business, then the podcast takes you step by step through what you have to do. Mm-hmm. It's in order, in sequence, so you just follow along and just do the steps. And we have a Facebook group attached to it. So if you want some light coaching on what to say, or if you have questions, you're not just left out there hung to dry by yourself, you can do that. And if you go to FlippingHousesForRookies.com, scroll down the page, both podcasts, this podcast is on the left, the other one's on the right, and you can start listening to those episodes. Or you can go to FlippingHousesForRookies.com. What is it? Free training podcast. Okay? If you want to go right to the direct link. Okay? So go check it out, because I've had coaching clients tell me how I'm actually surprised. My coaching clients have been listening to that checklist, and the raving reviews I get. I mean, you would think that these guys already know, but when we, it's not me, it's you and I, go through the deal structuring section.
Oh yeah.
They're like, oh my God, Bill, because they're all 30-minute podcasts. So we just go, there's no fluff. We just like start the podcast and go, blah. And then we're done. Some of them are only 20 minutes long. We just go, I just go, okay, do this, blah. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and these guys are like raving about how concise and how much they're learning from that podcast.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
That's why we did it.
Exactly. So till next week, we're over and out. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.